Game 2 Origin Pod. Boys, lots to talk about. Very keen. What do we reckon?
Oh, there's a lot of things to discuss, mate. That's for sure. Look, we touched on a little bit in the TLT podcast yesterday for those that watched that, but it's going to be a great game, man. I mean, I think New South Wales have made the correct decisions for Game 2. I think they sort of picked what they had to pick for Game 1. I mean, their options were sort of limited, but Cam Murray's going to be a massive in for them. I like the pick of Moses as well. I mean, Nico Hines, it was definitely a scapegoat. I didn't think he actually played that badly, but Moses' kicking game is going to be huge to compare with Daly Cherry Evans' kicking game. We all know DCE is a very good game manager.
Yeah,
so
that's where we won it in Game 1, at least from my perspective. Like, our kicking was great.
Yeah. I also think with Moses, he plays a bit more direct. Like, I feel like Nico has been a bit too sideways, so Moses will really have them running straight, and he'll get his outside man involved.
From a Queensland's perspective, seeing Latrell Mitchell in the team causes a nightmare.
He should never have left that team. He's been elite for the Blues in the past. He has potential to be a man of the match.
Yep.
I'd also add that I think, and I've said this on the podcast again, Gerbo, if he wasn't captain, he wouldn't be in the team.
No, I love Gerbo.
I don't think he would be.
I think it is important to pick players like that who keep their feet moving, but with respect to Gerbo, his feet moving, it's not very fast.
They don't move very fast, yeah.
And like, what else does he like? Who offers more, Mitch Barnett or Gerbo? Like straight away, Mitch Barnett. There you go. So I think we've sort of we were lucky with the fact that they picked Gerbo as captain, because I really can't see him there. But the odds here are $1.84 for the Blues. Do you reckon that's probably right for the game?
I think that's fair enough. Like, considering Game 2s generally are usually blowouts to the team that lost Game 1.
It's tough to win a Game 2 with the natural complacency. Like, obviously, Billy will be saying to the boys, don't get complacent, but it's just human nature, right?
Well, like
the Blues will be so desperate.
I think we just got to do what we did last year at home in Queensland. I feel like we played with the same hunger. But if Billy's going to get the best out of us, I feel like our lineup, some interesting calls. No Cobbo is a bit of a worry.
Yeah, well,
no Fafita, obviously.
I said that on the TLT podcast as well, that those that watched that. But the Cobbo decision, I'm just Billy can just say it's straight that he's not good enough, like, rather than all this coded sort of like cryptic talk saying,
I feel like Cobbo
he just needs a rest.
Well, Cobbo did come out and say, like, he told Billy that he didn't want to get selected. I don't know if that's completely true, but I mean,
he is young, obviously, so I sort of get that.
Yeah. But in terms of ability, he obviously should be in the team.
Yeah. I mean, and then Kurt Capewell, we were talking off podcast about like how he's going to be brought into the game, what roles he going to be played. I don't know where he comes into the game at all, because Nano's going to play 80. You'd think Sewer plays 80.
Yeah, it's interesting. I feel like maybe Sewer doesn't, but I feel like Kurt Capewell could go into the middle and do a good job.
Yeah,
he definitely lifts for Origin. We know that.
Yeah, I think unless there's an injury, I think he will come into the middle and sort of play that Kafusi role that Kafusi played when he came on.
Yeah.
Just take runs and defend, pretty simple.
Yeah. Game 2 at MCG. I know Caldus has some stats here for us. That is a bit of concern as well. I think the last game, Melbourne, was 2018.
Yeah, you're right. Look, Melbourne, the MCG particularly hasn't been a happy stomping ground for the Maroons. We've lost 4 of the 5 games that have been played there. This is also dating back to like 1994, by the way. So we haven't actually played that many Origins at the MCG. But look, any sort of leg up that the media want to spin in favour of New South Wales, they're going to do it. I mean, even today I saw some media guy saying that the Queenslanders were 10 minutes late to the press conference, and if that was just tactics or just being disrespectful, I was like, come on, guys. They're just trying to get any sort of leg up to be in front for this one. Look, our MCG, they're expecting 90,000 there. For the guys that are coming back, it's going to be a great spectacle regardless. I know my sort of bet is Queensland 1-12. My confidence level in that is not high whatsoever. I know you got a bet though, right?
Yeah, I've got a good one here, I think. I think if the Blues do win, I think it'll be close. So I've gone New South Wales 1-12. I put
Disgusting. That is terrible.
Just
really says a lot, doesn't it?
From pure betting perspective, like, I've gone Critter to score. I think next to Moses, I think he's a pretty good chance at $2.85. He's good in the air as well, and he's a strong ball carrier. I think he has a good chance to score. And then I've also got Murray to Alagi to score. 275 on the wing. That's pretty good value. You can wrap it up for 23.25. So
it's not bad value at all.
Cheeky fiver on that, boys.
I think in terms of like the centers, I feel like Latrell, I think he's scored 6 tries in his 8 Origin appearances. I think he's a shoe-in to score.
Yeah.
Next to Luai as well. I do like that.
Yeah, I know some people think that Luai, doesn't really set his outside men up, but it's Latrell. I think it'll be
Who does more?
I think it'll be a directive to pass it to him pretty early.
Who does more goosies, Luai in Origin or Farlongo?
If you're a fantasy owner of Penrith outside backs, outside Luai, it is a tough watch.
I've got Tago, and God, it kills me every time, and he just dummies and runs. I'm just trying to post.
Did you see that Suoliti came into the Origin camp, was acting as like a fill-in or something?
What do you mean?
He was acting as like a defensive fill-in to like act as like a Queensland player. It's like, surely he's just like Siebes.
Yeah, like, what?
Like, seriously, is he getting picked for game 3?
Yeah, unless
I don't think so.
I don't know. It depends if we lose. If they lose, who knows?
Yeah, it'll be hard to pick him for game 3. But back on Latrell, I also think with Luai's short king game, it's really, really good at the moment. So I think, he puts a little grubber through. I think Latrell could jump on that.
I think Moses is underdone. I think he'll play well. His kicking's not going to be poor at any stage.
Well, that's the worry as well, because it's not like Moses has been playing. He's played 2-3 games.
I feel like they got a few players who haven't got much game time.
Moses, Cam Murray. Who else is there? Well, Latrell's been back for a while, but I think Cam Murray and Moses are the ones that they're worried about in terms of being underdone.
Well, what's Moses done since he's been back? He's played 2 rounds. He's lost. He's lost both games. He's played 2 games, right?
Yeah.
They've lost both games as well. I
think so. Yeah.
I think they might have won the first one. I feel like he played alright in that game, but the second game was the real one where this is where it's up to...
Yeah, they lost to the Doggies, right?
Yeah. This is where it's up to him to show he should be picked. And he didn't play great, but Nico Hines, I guess, was never really...
I think Madge wanted Moses from the get-go.
Exactly, yeah.
Sorry, boys. I'm just trying to post this bloody podcast thing, and then I've gone to post it on the wrong account again. So
you're right, man. I was running what that little sound was.
But I've posted like a NRL news on my account, and someone swiped up and been like, "Yeah, thanks for this, mate."
Thanks. I actually really didn't know that. Cheers, bud.
This is great stuff. I want to talk about the game time. Do we agree it should be at 8 o'clock? I feel like that is way too late, and we're really not giving the best opportunity for max viewing, especially for younger people.
Yeah, I feel like 7 o'clock's probably the right window.
And DC agreed. I'm trying to think of what the reason for that could be, why they put it at 8.
I know DC said 6 o'clock, but I'm thinking that's maybe a little bit too early.
Like 7.
Like, you finish work at 5:30, takes a while to get home, have dinner.
Yeah.
I think 7 to 7:30 would be perfect. 8 o'clock is too late, I agree.
Mate, especially in our household, we had bedtime.
Yeah,
not for Origin at least, but
yeah,
if you want your kids getting into the game,
yeah,
like they're not gonna. I don't blame them if they're falling asleep by halftime.
I swear we raise this exact point every single year, but like
Mate,
no one.
Yeah,
and also it doesn't even start at 8 o'clock. It always runs late. It starts like 8:05, 8:10.
There's got to be something.
Especially if we have people doing an acoustic version of the anthem, and then having
a
5-minute
flamed on TikTok.
Yeah. Oh my god.
Look, when you're singing an anthem, just do it in the traditional way. I don't think it's there to be creatively spun.
Yeah, I mean, our anthem's never.
Yeah, yeah.
Qantas is a lover though.
I don't mind it.
You like the anthem?
Well, I don't mind it when I'm watching the Wallabies
I think
at the
it might
stadium.
be a bottom 3 in the world.
I want to talk about, boys, the Val Holmes Latrell matchup, because Val, I mean, it hasn't been a good season for Val. We say
defensively,
we say this, but he's still had actually quite a good season. But defensively,
attacking wise, apart from a few errors, he's been pretty good.
Yeah, defensively, it probably hasn't been his best season. Latrell on that side as well. It's going to be probably the matchup of the day to watch out for. What do we think? Is this sort of going to be like a season-defining performance for Val Holmes if you can keep him out?
Yeah, look, it's definitely a worry, but Val's been really good defensively in the past. I back him to do a job.
I trust him, and he was one of our worst in a good win. So it's maybe he lifts. I think he does.
Yeah.
And back to Sawali. This could be like the worst Origin career ever. Like,
yeah, one game where he gets sent off and costs him the game, and then just never plays again.
so he plays game 1. He plays 7 minutes, gets sent off,
Unless he comes back to the league.
and then he won't play game 2. He probably won't play game 3, and then he's off Australian rugby.
Maybe
Right.
I'm thinking of Brett Hodgson. Was he the one who threw the ball to
Yeah, but I
Darren
think-
Lockyer and then got flung out by Gordon Tallis?
I think he's
That was
played.
a rough one.
I think he's played a few good Origin games though. I
Yeah,
can't really remember. Trying to think of any. Talakai was pretty bad for his 10 minutes. But that's not his
That
fault.
was Fittler.
Yeah, that wasn't his fault. Poor Talakai. He'd do a job in the middle, I reckon. For
I
the
think he
Blues.
would. Do we think anyone was unlucky to miss out for New South Wales?
I was sort of a Burton lover after his sort of start of the season. He just offers. I feel like Origin is just, and like it gets brought up a lot, but it's all about moments and who's going to be like who's going to be able to give you a moment. And
Who's a big game player?
and like when you compare two people, what does one person offer that the other person can't? And this is what I keep saying to people with like comparing Nanai to Liam Martin. What does Nanai offer that Liam Martin does? Nanai scores your tries.
Yeah,
And he does everything else better than what like Liam Martin does. Like this is just one example. What would you rather? Someone who can hit a big tackle, right? Like 2 times a game. That's what Liam Martin did last time. Everyone's talking about him.
And then miss 6 or 7 tackles.
Exactly. Or
Yeah.
Nanai, who every single time goes down to the other end and you put a bum up, here's
Yeah.
a good 50-50 chance of scoring a try.
The way he can test kicks is actually incredible. Like he's always running, charging for it.
This is
elite.
definitely a contentious take that we actually all agree on. I know we agree a lot in this podcast, but I think Liam Martin, I don't want to put it out there, but I think he might be getting a bit overrated.
Well,
I feel like people are going to come after me, but we all agree, don't we?
Yeah, I've been on the Liam Martin's overrated side for a couple of years.
I
now.
don't think he's overrated. I just think his moments get overrated
yeah.
when compared to what his actual output over a whole game.
Yeah, I think people perceive him as like a really hard worker, like nitty gritty, like will take a lot of runs, will defend, but he's not actually that sort of player. He doesn't take that many runs. He misses tackles. So then you got to think, then he must be offering something in attack. But is he really? Like, he's a decent ball runner.
Well, I'm just comparing him to Olakwatu. As a Queenslander watching the game, who are you more scared of when they're running out? Liam Martin. He'll do a couple of good shots, sure, but he'll miss a tackle on Ben Hunt
Yeah.
for him to score, or Olakwatu.
Yeah, obviously Olakwatu.
But just going back to Burton, like who's going to give you more output? Like, and looking at this team, it's going to be hard to put him in. But if you could put him in a bench spot, who's going to give you more chance of getting a result? Burton or someone like I don't know, like Isaiah? Yeah, maybe even like you get rid of him.
He's another one we all agree is.
I know because like Burton, his bomb can change the
You're
game.
right, but
you know,
I
feel
guess
like-
I guess if they wanted to pick Connor Watson, it's kind of hard to pick Burton in.
Yeah, well, that's what I was saying. I said that on the previous pod.
yeah.
It's sort of hard to have 2 bench players like that, and that's sort of why Cam McInnes wasn't picked.
Yeah, and I do like the Connor Watson pick, so I guess it's just unlucky for Burton.
I'm looking at our bench, and like the impact's pretty good. Apart from like we're just a bit confused how Kafusi and Capel are getting used.
well, like this has come back to again. Like if you're talking about matchups and like what people are going to offer, I mean, Kurt Capewar is somehow in the team.
That makes sense. He's at the Wars. Yeah.
Kurt Capewar is just in the team over Fafita, who is quite potentially the most impact player of the game. And people say he's going to be lazy, mate. If you bring him on the field for 25 minutes, he's going to make at least.
He's also not lazy.
Fafita doesn't have photos.
He's not lazy by any metric as well. So
Yeah, and he's going to make at least 4 plays. That's going to change the game at least.
yeah,
So,
I mean,
Well, they got Olakwatu coming on. I think he should start, but still, Olakwatu coming on. Spencer Lino, Mitch Barnett's 18, but they could change that. Isaiah, yeah, that's an impact bench.
look, it's all well and good to predict what's going to happen, but I mean, we really don't know. Like it's Origin football,
Nah, mate, we know.
and but like game 1's a perfect example of how Origin is. You have to cover all bases, and going with the 4 forwards option, I don't think is an option anymore in Origin. That's for sure.
nah, you definitely need someone to cover positions.
I
It's
was
just-
watching game 2 last year. It was hilarious. It's not his fault how bad Cook played in the centres because
Oh,
because of
yeah,
Turbo
yeah.
getting injured.
Yeah,
Cook went to centre,
yeah.
and that's going to have to happen to Connor Watson, I assume. If they get an injury in the outside backs, do they put Cam Murray into centre maybe?
Yeah, they go like
Can
Cam
they
Murray,
put-
Cam
they
Murray
put
center, then
Olakwatu?
Olakwatu on. Yeah, they'd find a way to not have to put Connor Watson to
Like,
center because that'd be
that's the same
diabolical.
problem for us.
Queensland is quite lucky with the luxury that we have both Harry Grant and Ben Hunt that can play numerous positions. I guess Harry Grant maybe not, but Ben Hunt can play so many different positions and fill so many holes. And Kurt Capewell's done that for us in previous years as well. He's played in the centres.
Also, how lucky were we to have a top 5-ish fullback in Hammer to fill in at fullback when Walsh went down? Yeah. Like there's no guarantee we win that game if we don't have Hammer there.
Queensland realistically probably have top 5 fullbacks in Ponga, Walsh, and Hammer.
Yeah, definitely.
Pretty crazy to think about.
But yeah, there's a few storylines there, and I think we've covered most of them. But it's going to be very interesting, that's for sure.
I'm keen to see how Deadwoods plays. I can't see him having a bad game.
Yeah,
but I can't see him having like moments where he's just dominant.
No,
I think he'll just be like he does play for Penrith, where he's just consistent throughout the whole game.
Yeah, like he'll probably have the most meters gained for either team. He won't make any mistakes. He'll play a bit like Teddy does, like just really high work rate. He'll help out with the yardage.
Yeah,
but yeah, I agree with Mick. I don't see him making like a game winning play. I haven't cursed us there, but
someone will clip this.
I would be inclined to agree. I don't see him being a highlight player, but he's going to do everything else that isn't on the highlights.
Yeah, he'll be one of the best players on the field. It just won't be in like a match winning way.
Yep. Yeah, we talked about Cam Murray's gotten the starting lock jersey. Willie Mason sort of said in his podcast, I saw a clip that Isaiah Yous, it's people have started to figure out like a bit predictable with his playmaking. Sort of straight to lock out the back ball. DCE got an intercept on it.
Yeah, it's
like are we sort of moving away, especially in Origin? Our lock, Paddy Carrigan, most of the time he's tucking it under his wing, trying to bust the line, then offload.
Yeah, I feel like with the line speeds in Origin, like. Yeah, I feel like he should be passing out. And Grant's really good at this. And Hunt, like really long pass out to your halfback. Yeah. Then you can get to your outside backs really quick. I feel like that's the way to go rather than, to the halfback, to the centre.
It was glaringly evident in game 1. Hammer was getting the rock almost instantaneously.
Yeah. I feel like with Yao, I feel like he should still be in the team, but I think he should move more into like just a prop role. Like as you said, just take hit-ups, to make tackles. He's really, really good at that. But yeah, his ball playing is pretty predictable at the moment.
I think I like how we have Carrigan at 13. He's just tucking around because, I mean, game 1's not a massive example of it, but definitely in the decider in 2022, I think it was, when Ben Hunt went around. Was that 2022 or 2023? When Ben Hunt, 2022. Field possession is just like so big as well in territory, and I think teams would rather just like ruck up the field and get the ball down the other end.
Exactly. So, and like as a half, in Origin especially, you need as much time as possible to make decisions. And when you see Isaiah passing out to you, like, this is just less time for me to create.
And by the time Nico or Cleary, whoever gets the ball, the defense is already on them. Like, oh, shit, like, I have no time to do anything.
You see that with Nico as well.
Yeah, for sure. Rushed. And I guess we're lucky we have Grant, Hunt, these guys who can play, like, the link man in the middle. Like, we can use them to pass out, so...
There's probably, like, NRL experts who have played league for a lot. We're more union players, but they're probably listening like, these guys are yapping about shit.
These guys have no clue what they're talking about.
Well, there is a few stats here, actually. Historically, after claiming game 1 in Sydney, the Maroons have gone on to win 7 of the last series after winning those ones. Hamaso scored 8 tries in 5 Origins. So I know for our syndicate, we're looking at getting on the hammer there again. He can't go 6 games in a row with scoring, surely.
I feel like you just have to keep following him.
6 games in a row.
He is a joy to watch.
Oh, he's always there. If we make a break, he'll be the one catching it.
I reckon the Cows, if they could turn back time, would they?
Yeah, 100%.
Like, Drinky's obviously great.
Drinky's a good player, but Hammer he's next level.
Yeah. Crazy.
Continuing on with these stats, in a 3-game series, since the induction of that, the state that has lost the first game has come back to win the series just 10 times out of 41 series.
Yeah.
So the stats are with Queensland. Ryan Girdler holds the record for the most points in an Origin match with 32. There's another one. What did Zach Lomax get for the Dragons a few weeks ago? That was 30-something. So
he kicked 10 from 10.
Yeah, he was up there.
And
40.
It is a good sort of conversation. Cameron Smith holds the record for the most Origin games with 42. Can we see anyone breaking that?
How many's DC at? Probably not enough because he had that
Smith
time off.
came in very early into his career.
Yeah.
I think it was like 2005.
And played every single game for, 15 years?
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is what I was thinking. Like, I think the league is getting younger and younger and younger. Like Blaise Talagi, he could play league for the next 16 years and play every game, and he'll be up to 400.
Well, I mean, Swat Ali, he's going to union, but he debuted when he was 17.
17, yeah. So I mean, there's just another one. They're good stats. I think Queensland at $2 I think it's a really good value. Like obviously $2 for the team that just won by 28 points or whatever.
Even if we lose game 2, God, I'd be shocked if we lose game 3 at Suncorp. Our record there is insane.
It's starting to remind me of the start of our streak. Like, I feel like we just got so much synergy every single time we come into Origin camp. We're basically running the same plays with the same players.
Yeah.
Same spine.
Yep.
Whereas New South Wales are changing it up so much like they once did, where it's like they're like running brand new plays and trying to connect with each other.
Yeah.
All our preparations basically just a sequence of what we did.
Oh, it's just next man up
And
for Queensland.
The succession is going to be so good as well because we've got obviously Hunt's there now, DCE, but when Hunt retires, Grant will step in and probably play 80 minutes. When DC retires, we've already got Dearden playing pretty well.
Sam Walker as well. He's playing right.
Like these guys will come in and they'll just already be relatively experienced. So
another interesting point is under 19s Origin was the other night. I think Queensland have only won one series out of the last maybe 8 or so.
Yeah,
which is interesting.
Yeah, we barely win those ones because look, overall New South Wales have the better talent. I'd say, or more depth at least.
Yeah, definitely more depth.
But I think our top flight talent is just always maybe a little bit better.
Yeah. So you look back at teams and you can see like generational Queensland players in those teams. Like only a few of them though.
Yeah.
Whereas those New South Wales, like Chevy Stewart, like they had a lot of first graders already.
Yeah.
I guess when they come into the league, I'm not sure what happens when it gets to.
It's also interesting. Like if you go back through the years and look through all those under 19 teams, it is very often they get them like those teams wrong. It's always almost every half or maybe 70% of those players go on to play NRL.
Yeah.
So if you're making those under 19 sides, you pretty much made it. Like they don't get it wrong very often.
There'll only be a handful of players who sort of
they might.
That's definitely because of injuries.
Might get injured on the move. Yeah. So.
Well, we might have to wrap it up and see what it plays on Wednesday. So
this is the dream, just yapping.
That's awesome. I love it.
It's going to be very interesting, and we'll be here on Thursday to wrap it all up, I think.
I can just see Liam Martin scoring the winning try for New South Wales.
Dylan Edwards
getting clipped.
Yeah, Dylan Edwards makes a break, passes to Liam Martin, they win.
Dylan Edwards 12 tackle breaks, 3 tries.
We've never been wrong with it, Jake, on this podcast. Remember when we said Keeney was a good player? Look how that's gone.
We might have to remind people.
Yeah, look how that's gone.
We definitely didn't have him themselves like 2 weeks later.
Yeah, look how that's gone. All right, we'll see you Thursday. Go Queensland.
Maroons.